So I call this one shuffle tracking. And it's my attempt to make myself look a little bit like Jason Ladani without the skill that he has. So this is what it looks like. And I always follow up that psychic poker with this one. So Lloyd, I have a deck of cards. Do you want to give them a shuffle for me quickly?
Yep.
That would be great. And what I want you to do is you are going to, and do you want to give them a cut as well? Mm-hmm. That's great. Perfect. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to have you name a value. And I'm going to try. Have you ever heard of shuffle tracking before?
Can't say I have.
It's the idea of shuffling the cards blindfolded and instantly being able to track the cards that are being shuffled and track the position they go into.
Okay.
I'm going to try and do that, but you decide the value. So what value from ace through to king would you like me to use?
4.
4. Okay. I'm going to take one of the 4s out to show you what I'm going to do. So which 4 would you like me to take out?
4 spades.
4 spades. Okay. So we will look for the 4 of spades. It's in here somewhere. It's got to be in here somewhere. Oh, right at the top. Oh my God. That's a miracle. Now, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and do it in a very difficult way. You shuffle these cards, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to try, and you're going to tell me how many shuffles to do it in. I'm going to try and control those 4s next to another value. So I have to keep track of this 4, and I have to have it land next to another value card, and at the same time do the other 3 4s. Let me explain. Take that card, put it face down somewhere into the middle, but leave it sticking out. Now, it's really important that you're happy with that.
Yeah.
And also, you chose the value. You could have chosen anything, but you went for the 4 and specifically the 4 of spades. Is that correct?
Yes.
Very good. So, let's take the card next to the 4, which is the 9. Okay? So the idea is we've got the 4 of spades and we've got the 9 of diamonds. Mm-hmm. They were chosen by you.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut them into the deck so they're together. I'm going to try and give the cards some shuffles, keep that 4 and that 9 together, and stack the other 4s next to the other 9s. How many shuffles would you like me to do this in?
2.
2. Blindfolded.
More difficult.
Here we go. Blindfolded, looking in this direction. 2 shuffles. That's 1. That is 2. How many cuts?
1.
Done. You could have picked any value. You picked the 9s, and then you picked another value. And you picked the 4. You picked the 4s, but then you picked another value. You picked the 9s. Yeah. Well, there's a 9 with a 4 right next to it. There's a 9 with a 4 right next to it. There's a 9 with a 4 right next to it. And finally, hopefully, there's a 9 with a 4 right next to it. And that, my friend, is shuffle tracking. And that is reset.
Phenomenal.
Isn't that cool?
Literally phenomenal. So good.
Completely different approach to the deck.
Yeah, completely.
Completely different way. But because you've got those cards paired,
yeah,
why not use it today? And genuinely, this kind of makes you feel like an expert in gambling.
Without being an expert in gambling.
Now, I have to credit somebody for this. Because my original idea, because there were 4 jokers in the deck, I was saying, I've put 4 jokers in there, I'm going to try and shuffle them next to a value, and I was forcing king. And then I sat down with my friend Nemeth Phoenix, and he said, why don't you use the prophecy move? And that's where that all came together. So it's kind of me and Nemeth together working on this. So for those of you that weren't following that, let me explain it very, very quickly. So you give the spectator the cards, you have them shuffle the cards. They can shuffle them, obviously, as we know by this point, as much as they want to. They can cut the cards as much as they want to. You then have them name a value. What's really cool is they can name any value. So let's say they say, I don't know, 3s. And you say to them, okay, which 3 would you like me to take out? So let's say they say the 3 of hearts. You're going to spread through the deck. And notice when I spread through, I kind of spread through in clumps because I don't want them to see. Not that they would notice. Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of spreading off in clumps. But all they're looking for is the 3 of hearts. So when I see the 3 of hearts, I'm going to make sure that the card that goes next to the 3, which is the 10 in this case, gets cut to the top. Now, it might be, depending on the value, there. If it's there, as I take out the 3, I'm gonna go like that.
Swap them around.
Yes, exactly. I just want to make sure that whatever card goes with that 3 ends up on top of the pack.
Got it.
Okay. So now I explain the premise, and I talk about how we're going to select another value at random, and this is called the prophecy move. It's Bill Simon's prophecy move. They put this card anywhere into the middle they want to, and they leave it sticking out. Now, you're going to turn that card over. So after they've put it in, you talk for a couple of seconds, you have a small amount of time misdirection, and then you're going to turn that card over. But as you do, you're going to cut the deck, but they don't notice. Yeah, it's secretly cutting the deck. It's like an open pass. So you just spread through to this point. And so you spread through like this to this point here. And then you're going to take all of the cards above the outjumped card, turn them over end for end like this, and use your thumb to grab that card and turn everything over, and then put everything underneath. And believe it or not, you've cut the deck, but it doesn't look like you've done anything. And when you do that move, it's important that you reference the card. So you say you could have named any card, but you named a 3 of hearts, and you do it as you turn it over. And that's the reason for turning that card over.
I always do this as an afterthought. So they put it in face down and say, actually, let's turn it face up, just so we can see it at all times.
Perfect.
Whatever you want to do, though.
So now you spread through, and you just take the card underneath it, and it's always going to be the 10. Perfect. Now, when I started doing this, obviously you need to make sure that the long card is underneath the short card. And what I do is I flip them over on top of the deck as I'm talking, and I just test to make sure they are. I'm not looking at the deck, I'm looking at them. I just want to make sure that you can look at it as you pointed out earlier. I just like to literally do it this way. I just need to make sure that the short card is orientated on top of the regular card.
Whatever you want to do it.
Yeah.
They don't know that you're looking for a long or a short card. They just think you're toying with the cards and mixing them up a bit. Like, don't feel guilty about this stuff.
Exactly. Now you flip the cards over, and you can get them to cut the deck, or you can cut the deck. And at this point now, this is incredible. If you actually think about it from a layman's point of view, you're gonna. When I do this normally, I have someone standing behind me, and I get them to put their hands over my eyes, and I talk about card control and shuffle tracking, and I ask them how many shuffles. And generally, they say 2 or 3. Let's say they just say 1 for sake of completeness. That shuffle is going to do nothing. The 3s are going to stay next to the 10s. And then I say how many cuts, and if they say 2, for example, I'll do this. Whatever they want, because it makes no difference. And now all I have to do, as I say, so it was 3s and 10s, right? And I spread through, and as I take each pair out, it becomes more and more impossible. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. It really does make it look like you're some sort of expert at sleight of hand. The cool thing is, because I'm putting the pairs down like that,
it's instantly reset.
Exactly. All I have to do is show this. I put these together, I cut them into the pack, and reset to go into any other routine I want to go into. And I've done that. So you can buy, and I talked earlier on about like linking routines together and transitioning from one to the other. If you look at those routines that we've taught you, and you start with like just telling them the name of a card, then you give them your Rain Man presentation, and you tell them, you know, you've got the ability to do that, and then you do that psychic poker, and you finish with this. I mean, that's like a 10-minute set using the same deck, which is cool, because a lot of the time with gimmick decks like a Svengali deck or an invisible deck, although there's lots of things you can do with them, it's difficult to go from one routine into another another. You kind of have to pick your favorite routine and do it, and that's it. But with this, there's so many different ways you can do it. You can literally do a 15-minute set with this deck and not repeat anything.
It's so much fun. Well, with that being said, but one thing is that you could just try and get them to name the other number. So say if I say to you, name a number, right?
Okay.
That we're going to use.
4.
4. And a suit.
Heart.
Heart. Now you could have named another number. What would have been the next number you named? 6. Right. So in that case, it wouldn't work. But you might have, just per chance, they might just say it. If you have a group of people, there's 5 people, and you say, you've named 4. All of you name another number between 1 and 10. Now, somebody's going to hit that
9.
That 9, right? Potentially. If there's 5 of them, got a high chance of somebody naming the 9. if they all name one, you could then do a patio force or equivoke down to that person. Okay, or like everyone stand up, 2 of you sit down, blah, blah, whatever. If you want to, they might just hit it. And if they don't, you could then ask, how many shuffles shall I do? Before asking for a number, right? I'm not going to do something amazing. How many shuffles shall I do? They might say 9, right? Or if the number's a high number, they say 9. They might say 4 shuffles. I'll do one better. Instead of 4 shuffles, I'll find all the 4s for the 9s. And if they don't say 4 shuffles, they might say 4 cuts. Whatever it's going to be, jazz for a little bit. And if they hit that number between the few goes, then you don't even have to do the Bill Simon prophecy move. You could say, okay, we'll use your number, shuffle the deck, shuffle the deck, shuffle the deck. We said we'd use a number. I didn't tell you how we'd use it. We're going to shuffle all the 7s next to all the 6s. And you said 6 shuffles. I'm going to go one better, 6 shuffles, and it'll end up that all the 7s are next to all. Whatever it's going to be. And if they don't hit it, you've got a backup plan, which is the original method. So I always try and do this with all the routines or a lot of the routines that I have, which is I try and aim for something impossible. I'll cast the net up. If it hits, it hits. But if it doesn't, you have the original great routine anyway. So that's just one thing that you can do. But if we're gonna go into routine, we could do something else if you want.
Yeah.
And then we just roll straight into it. So do you want to shuffle the cards up?
Yeah, I'd love to. Ooh.
And this is basically kind of jazzing off what we did earlier at the start of this little section. And cut off a small amount of cards for yourself.
Okay.
Okay. And get rid of the rest of the deck.
Yeah.
Got it? And actually, I just want you to shuffle those cards up all over the table.
Face up or face down?
Face down. Okay, and then you can get everybody involved in doing this as many times as you want. Take one of those cards.
Anyone?
Anyone that you want.
Got it?
Got it? Happy with that?
Yep.
And put it away. We can see. Are we happy for us to turn the rest of these over?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. No matching cards, no pairs, no duplicates. This is pretty fair as far
Very
as
fair,
concerned.
yeah.
This is the crazy thing. You haven't looked at your card yet. Do you want to go ahead and have a look at it? I'll look away. Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Jack of spades?
Yes. So good.
So literally, it sounds a little bit silly, but I am just looking, and there are other ways to do it. I find the easier way is I'm just looking at each card and then looking for the pair of it. Because it's not, this looks like a lot of cards, right? But there's 10 cards here. The reality is, I only need to look at 5 cards. Right? So I'm only looking at 5 cards, and that tells me what card of his is missing. But what this does really nicely is that it cancels out that method of keeping pairs together. As soon as they start to wildly shuffle, you start to, if anyone's like, their pairs are 13 for whatever reason, now that just get rid of it. So what I'd like you to do, Craig, is just for the sake of this thing, I'll tell everyone what you're doing. Take a random card out and hide it, because I don't know what you're going to take. I'll run everyone through what I'm doing.
Okay.
All right. I come back. And now I'm going to look at the 9 of diamonds, and I'm going to look immediately for the 4 of spades. Well, okay, it's gone. If it wasn't the 4 of spades I was missing, so this is what I would do if I didn't clock the 9 first. If I see straight away the 4 of spades is gone, I can just proceed. If not, though, imagine I don't look at this card first, right? So what I would literally do is I'd look at the Queen of clubs, and I know immediately I have to look for the Ace of Hearts. So I see an Ace of Hearts. Now I look at a 2 of diamonds. I know I have to look for a Jack of spades. And I'm just bouncing around, but I only have to do it 5 times, which isn't, or 4 times, and the last one's not there. Which sounds quite heavy, but you've seen how fast I just did that on the fly.
Ridiculously fast. Yeah.
It's really, really easy. The interesting thing is, and I'm only sort of putting this together now, is if we do the Rayman presentation of what Thomas Maloney suggested earlier, if it's not a crazy amount of cards, like say it's just 10 or 12 or 8 or 6, whatever amount of cards it is, and I come over and I can say, I can do one of 2 things. If Craig's in this position, right, and it's spread out and I haven't looked at it, I can say take 1 card away. Because there are 10 cards here, and I'm going to know that beforehand, the first thing I'll be able to do is I'll know that the total is 65. So I can frame it as one of 2 things. I can say the total is 65, right? Boom, that's the first part. And now as I come back and I can say, oh, by the way, the card, you took 1 card, didn't you? And I can say the total, you know what I mean? Or I mean, I'm thinking of this on the fly, but basically you can combine these two things together because they look aesthetically similar. Or I could do it where Craig puts that card back, right? So put the 4 spades back. First of all, I can say the total is 65, which looks good. I say, after you mix these up, now take one away, and now I can come back and go, and the card you just stole was exactly the 4 of spades, or ace of hearts, or whatever it's going to be. You know what I mean? It's going to take a little bit longer. What is it? There's 6. Did you take the 6 out?
2.
2 of diamonds. But I'm just riffing here, but basically you can combine those 2 routines together, and then it gives you like this all-encompassing Rain Man ability.
That's great.
Quite
That's
fun though, isn't it? It's
really
just a fun
cool.
way of literally... what I like about things like when you do things like this is that magicians are really bad actors. We are inherently bad actors, and I think what makes a good magician is being able to be a good actor. So when you are doing something like the first phase, and I'm literally clocking each card to see which one's missing, I'm actually doing something legitimate. My brain is actually looking, and I'm trying to figure it out, which is exactly what I tell them I'm doing. But they think that I'm doing it in an impossible manner, where I actually have a bit of method behind it. So I can actually be honest in my presentation. I can be honest in my deception, because my brain is really thinking. Whereas some people, when they're like, if you force a 7 of hearts, for example, on someone, and I say, now think about it, I'm going to try and read you NLP style. Oh yeah, tiny magicians are crap actors by and large. And people can pick up on that inherently. But when you're actually doing something, which you kind of portray that you're doing, it does translate through into your performance.
I want to share another routine with you that's kind of a little bit like that. And I call it maths versus magic. Okay. And the idea is, I won't perform it, I'll just explain it, because apparently I've lost the ability to shuffle. I'll explain what it is. You give the spectator the pack of cards, you get them to shuffle them, you get them to cut them, do all of that fun stuff. And you talk about the difference between maths and magic. And what you do is you get 3 spectators to cut the deck. So you get the spectator to cut the deck into 3 piles like this. So you cut the deck into 3 piles. And you say, now you couldn't possibly know what the card at the bottom of each one of those piles is. And they say, I agree. So you have them each spectator puts the bottom card of each pile away, right? And you say, we're going to get back to those in a minute, but don't look at them. So 3 spectators holding 3 different cards. You say, let me give you an example of lightning fast maths calculations. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards here. I'm going to spread through the cards, and I'm going to try and do something. Now, what you do is you spread through the cards like this, and you act like you're very quickly adding it up, but you just look at it for 1 second. So now all I have to do is 7 times 13, but I look at the last one. So I do set, because I'm doing it to the 14, I add 4 at the end. So that allows me to tell the total of these cards, and then I can have them add them up, and I apparently knew the total like in literally a split second. I then do the same here. So I say, let's see how many cards we've got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, wow, okay. And you can do sort of the same thing here.
With the same 4 card.
Which would be incredible. And you do the same thing here, but then at the end, because you've got these 3 cards, you instantly know what the 3 cards are the people that have got. So I know that this person's going to have the 9 of clubs, I know that this person's going to have the 9 of diamonds, and I know this person's going to have the 10 of diamonds. So it's kind of another way of what you were kind of talking about there. The cool thing about this is that also keeps it in stack immediately, so you just have to do this, and it puts it back into stack again. So
it's a lovely presentation, lovely.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting way of doing it, and that's the thing that I think people need to understand. When you understand how this deck works and what it's capable of, there's so much that you can do. Yeah,
it's absolutely amazing. And like even just now, like with Thomas Maloney's thrown out that idea, and then you can add it in or inject it into other ideas, and then sort of just branch off, and you're very, very, very unlimited with this.
I want to show you something really special. Let's move on.
Okay.
You've not seen this.
All right, I'm excited.
And this is one of my favourite tricks to do with this deck.
Let's do it.
Okay, this is probably my favourite thing. I love this so much. I'm going to show you, okay? So I've got a deck of cards here, Lloyd. And as you can see, they're all there and they're all different. 52 cards, 52 possibilities. And as well as as well as that, I have this. I drew a grid on that card. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I also have, you're probably wondering what's this grid got to do with things. I'm going to show you. But I want you to just write your name, sign your name on the back of the grid for me if you can. That would be splendiferous. That's great. And, oh dear me. There we go. That's dry. Can you do me a favour, Lloyd? Can you just put your hand onto there?
Yeah.
And we'll put the pen away. Okay, so we're going to have a few cards taken from this deck, and you'll see why that's important in a second. But first of all, we'll give them a shuffle. You genuinely wondering where I'm going with this?
I haven't seen this trick, so I'm hyped.
Anytime you want to, just say stop.
Stop.
Okay, so we'll take 2 cards from there, and we'll take a few more. We'll take 6 altogether, so just say stop.
Stop.
We'll take 2 from there as well, and finally, just say stop.
Stop.
Okay, we'll take 2 from there as well. Are you happy with those cards? Because we can always put some back if you want. Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lovely. We're just going to add up the totals here and see what the total is. So we've got 7 and 3 is 10. Plus another 10 is 20. Plus a 6 is 26. Plus a 7 is 33. Plus a 6 is 39.
Okay.
You sign the back of that grid.
Yeah.
If I told you I could make and you could have picked any amount of cards. If you picked different cards, you would have ended up with a different number.
Yeah.
If I told you I'd made the 39 appear in that grid, would that be good? On the card that you signed?
Yeah.
Turn it over. Well, I've actually made a load of numbers appear, not just 39, which probably doesn't mean anything to you unless you look at this. And let me explain this to you. 9 plus 12 is 21. Plus 2 is 23. Plus 16 is 39, the number that you picked. Look at this. 15 plus 3 is 18. Plus 8 is 27. Plus 30 is 39. Look at this. 18 plus 4 is 22. Plus 10 is 22. Plus 7 is 39. 11 plus 6 plus 5 plus 17 is 39. Each row, whilst it was in your hand, added up to 39. But not just that. Look at this. 11 plus 4 plus 15 plus 9 is 39. 6 plus 18 plus 3 plus 12 is 39. 5 plus 10 plus 8 plus 16 is 39. 17 plus 7 plus 13 plus 2 is 39. Not just that, Lloyd, the diagonals. Look at this. 11 plus 18 plus 8 plus 2 is 39. 9 plus 3 plus 10 plus 17 is 39. In fact, every single combination, you take these 4 here, 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 these 4 here. Every single possible combination adds up to 39, the number that you picked on your sign card in your hand, and that is a souvenir for you.
Wow. Amazing. Look at that. So cool. So cool.
I love Magic Square. My problem with it is I never do it in close-up because it's too procedural.
Yeah.
Writing the numbers out takes forever.
Yes.
I have started doing this, and this is my favourite opener when I'm doing anything with this deck.
So cool.
Because what it allows me to do is it's got that magical moment in their hands. It's like a SpongeBall's moment, but I've got the power of the Magic Square without having to go through the boring bit of writing it down.
Yeah.
This is how much I love it. I have this in my gig bag. I just took a blank deck of cards, and I spent about an hour writing out an entire deck of these. So when I do a gig, I just put 4 or 5 of them in my pocket. And dude, I love this. So and I'm left with the Savant deck to go into any other routine I want to go into.
Unbelievable.
So
I'm more impressed that you filled out the entire deck.
Yeah, man.
Like that.
Well, it was a full deck. I've been doing it, but
every single card.
I left a couple of blanks in case my blank gets screwed.
You are literally something special, Craig.
And that has been said many times. So how this works, just in case you didn't realise, and I'm sure you do, but in essence...
We'll have to put an image up on screen for everyone, but you'll...
Yeah, I'm going to basically... Yes, if we can give them this image, I created a magic square. So the magic square has been around for years. Mm-hmm. Normally, somebody thinks of a number and you have to memorize a whole bunch of stuff, and there's certain calculations that you have to do, and most people will have a crib to help them with it. The nice thing about this is I don't have to do that because they're always going to pick 39,
nice.
But they feel like they've got a free choice. So I can pre-write these, which is why I can have it happen in their hands. So all I'm going to do is on top of the deck, I have a double backer because I make this really easy for myself. So all I'm going to do is I have my Savant deck set up as it's meant to be.
Yeah.
On top of that, I put the pre-filled grid So literally, if you want to make this up and do it over and over again, get yourself a blank face deck of cards, write out the grids, write out the numbers in it. It's going to take you about an hour and a half, but then you're going to be good for ages. You literally just take one of your Magic Square cards that have been pre-filled in. That goes on top of your Savant deck.
Yeah.
I have a double backer just to make my life easy, so that goes there. And then this goes somewhere else. If you've got cellophane around the deck, you can put it under the cellophane, or you can just put it away in your pocket, wherever, it doesn't really matter. So when you want to go into this, and this is a great opener, and you'll see why in a minute, you start off by bringing the deck out, and you can show the deck. Don't spread to the very end. You don't want them to see that. So spread about 3/4 of the way down. Turn the deck over, and you're going to get a break underneath those two cards. Now, the other thing about the Savant deck is it's very easy to get a break because of the short cards, so you don't have to work too hard with it. You then bring out this grid, and you show it, and you hand it around to a few people. Put it face up on top of the deck, and then bring the pen out and give them the pen, and you say, can you sign the back of this? Now, because I had the break here, when I turn this over, I'm just doing a triple turnover, and because of the double backer, it looks like they're signing the back of that blank grid, but in actual fact, they're signing the back of the card, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I keep the break underneath two cards, so as I take this back, they've signed it, I can blow their signature, pick up a triple again so they can see that that grid is still there, and then I just put that down on the table, or if it's walk around in their hands. So I've literally just made, I've switched this grid in. When they look at this, that's an incredible moment. So that's in their hands, the pen goes away. Now I just do a riffle shuffle, but I just keep the two cards on top, right? Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to force 6 cards. And the way I do this is I just dribble and I have them say stop anywhere they want to, and I just deal 2 cards onto the table. I then dribble again and I have somebody else say stop, and I deal 2 cards on the table, and I have somebody else say stop, and I deal 2 cards on the table. Now, the rest of the cards I just put back in the box or to one side, and what I need to do is reverse count these cards because they're now in reversed order. So I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's perfect, and I put this one to the bottom like I talked about earlier, so that when I add up these, it's not obviously 13, 13. So 9 plus 2 is 11, plus 11 is 22, plus 1 is 23, plus 12 is 35, plus whatever, 4 is 39. And then I put that card back on top.
And you're reset.
39, and I'm reset. So now I just put those there, and that's reset that trick. And now you have 2 moments of magic here. The first moment of magic is when they turn that over in their hand and a load of numbers have appeared, which is really strong because it's their signed card. But then the second moment of magic is you kind of, they'll point out very quickly, well, 39's not there. And then you're into the power of the Magic Square. And if you've never tried a Magic Square before, this moment is so strong when they add up every single row and every single column and it's come to 39. Really strong moment, right? Really, really strong moment. And I give them that as a souvenir. But how I clean up the deck, just so you know, is when I've done this and and I'm in this situation like this, I put this on top of the deck, and don't forget I've got these 2 cards here. I put this on top of the deck and I just pick up everything and I go to put it away in my pocket.
Nice.
And then I leave those 2 in my pocket and I say, oh, by the way, you can probably keep that as a souvenir.
Nice.
And then I take that out. Now that cleans up the entire deck, and that leaves me with my Savant deck reset, ready to do anything that I want to do. One other thing worth noting, I think 39 is the sweet spot. There are magic number generators on the internet. That's how I got this. I just went on a magic number generator. I put 39 in. It told me what the numbers were. They're going to be up on the screen for 39. But if you would rather have 52, for example, and you want to have 8 cards picked, you can just generate your own magic square for 52. I love this for 2 reasons. One, for me, it gets rid of all of the procedure of the magic square and gets to the good bit, which is the fact that they add up. And secondly, it adds that magical moment of something printing in their hands. It's like that SpongeBob moment.
So like a big fusion of methods, of effects even. It's really, really beautiful. Immediately what comes to my head is that is that if you did this with 9 cards, it wouldn't be as long. So if you had a 9 square grid on the Magic Square, that you force possibly a smaller number, or 39 can still work. But then, I'm trying to think if we have a normal deck. You know Paul Curry's Swindle...
That's a normal deck over there, next to the Savant decks.
This one?
Any of those 3, yeah.
So, you know Paul Curry's Swindle of Sorts?
Yes.
If you take these cards, the reason I think a smaller number might work is because a smaller amount of grid squares, I've forced the number 26, then the number should be small enough in here that, I'm only thinking this out loud now, but you could give them a pile of 9 cards to shuffle and mix however they want, or apparently fault shuffle it is. Paul Curry's Swindle of Sorts.
Yes.
So they can deal or twist, deal or twist, deal or twist, and then these numbers could be like, if that was a 3, an 8, a 4, a 9, a 9, a 7, a 8, a 12, and 13, whatever, you could actually make the magic square out of the cards that they've randomly shuffled, matching the cards over here's total, and that becomes a magic square, and it prints, and then you kind of have a little bit of like a double, triple whammy effect going on with cards that they've also shuffled as well.
That's great. Well,
Do you know what I mean?
the magic square generator that I used on the internet, you can actually pick how big you want the grid to be.
Oh, wow.
And then you can pick the force number. So you could have a 3x3 grid, put in 13 or 26, and then you could do that exact thing.
Great. So yeah, if you want to experiment with that, feel free. But this is a beautiful routine because it's got that impossible moment of magic, which is magic, and then it's got all this crazy stuff where then they think, well, if he knew beforehand, but then I picked the cards and I shuffled the deck, and there's no way, and every single, it's just a bit of a brain overload. It's amazing. It's really, really amazing.
Thanks so much.
Craig, 2 decks of cards, 1 red, 1 blue.
Yeah.
Which deck do you want to use for this?
The blue deck.
Perfect. And in a minute, I'm going to ask you to deal us a set of cards each. Not many, like 1, 2, or 3 cards each. What do you want to do?
2.
2 cards, perfect. So what we'll do, do you want to use this deck, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to have you pick a card from this deck. Now remember, if you'd said that deck, it would have been the other deck, and if you hadn't, it would be the other one. So every single card's different, you can see.
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm happy with that.
In a minute, I'm going to riffle down the edge of the cards, and I want you to call out stop.
Okay, I can do that. Stop.
Here?
Yeah.
Go ahead and remember that card.
I've got it.
Good. I'm going to leave these in full view. We'll get rid of the box. You want to use the blue deck? You could have used the red deck.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
choice.
ridiculous. Look at that.
Take the red deck, open them up, and remove all the cards. And what did you say? 2?
Yes.
Give the deck a solid shuffle, and then you can do this as many times as you want.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Happy, and then deal us 2 cards each, just like you wanted. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, what I want you to do is turn over this top card.
Okay.
What's that? An ace, which would be 1.
Yes.
Deal down 1 card. And then the same for the second card. 5 would take 5 cards.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Do the same for this card.
Okay, that's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And then this last card, have a look what it is. 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Stop. Think about this, right?
Yeah.
You picked any card from this deck.
Yes.
You could have used either deck to do this.
Yes.
That card was lost back into the middle somewhere.
Yes.
Then you shuffled the red deck.
Yes.
Dealt as many cards as you wanted, not as many as I wanted.
Yeah.
And then dealt down through the value of each card that you dealt out freely.
Yes.
Yeah? I didn't even touch the red deck. You did this all yourself.
Yes.
This is the final card. This is the 8th card out of all these.
Yes.
Added up, that would come to 26 in
Yes.
total. What was the card you were thinking of from earlier?
It was the King of Diamonds.
I don't even want to touch it. Go ahead, turn it over.
Boom. That is amazing. That is great.
Super, super easy. You don't need to use the deck. This is in mnemonica, this deck, but you don't need to use this deck in mnemonica. You just need to memorize 3 cards in total. So are these back in order? Do you want to set these up? I'll run it through the method. So before we begin, I'll place 3 cards in 3 positions, or I'll just use a deck mnemonica. But those 3 positions are 13, 26, and 39. The 13th card I would put, for me with mnemonica, the Queen of Clubs. Then the 26th card would be the King of Diamonds, and the 39th card would be the Ace of Hearts, wherever that is here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere. But the Ace of Hearts, or Ace of Diamonds even, is in the 39th position. So, I'll say, doesn't matter which deck they choose at the beginning, because I'm going to equivoke down to it. But then I'll ask the important question, which is, you're going to take that deck, shuffle it up, and you're going to deal us a couple of cards. It doesn't have to be many. It could be 1, 2, or 3, so we're not here for all day. Mm-hmm. How many do you want? So if Craig says 1 card each, then I'm going to force the first card in the 13th position, the Queen of Clubs. If he says 2, I'm going to force the King of Diamonds in the 26th position. And if he says 3, I'm going to force the Ace of Diamonds in the 39th position, which I always keep missing here, wherever it's gone. But that's pretty much it. As soon as Craig does that and tells me how many cards he wants to deal, I'll then take the blue deck. In this case, you said 2 cards each, which is 26.
And the beautiful thing is, at that point, then I can shuffle myself.
You can shuffle. I'm going to riffle for. I'm going to lift up to the back, find the King of Diamonds. I'm going to get a break. My King of Diamonds. If it was a Queen of Clubs, same thing. And the Ace of Diamonds, I riffle force this card. And say, remember it. Mm-hmm. I don't cut and complete the deck. I don't shuffle it. I just leave it there, complete it, and now it's all on you.
Now I finish off, I shuffle, I do everything, and I'm always going to end up forcing myself onto 26, which is going to put that card in that position.
Exactly. Every single time. So, and it's same if it was 39 or 13. And the reason I deal 2 piles is purely to obfuscate the method. So when I make it a bit less, instead of just dealing straight down to 26, I deal for each value. I just think it makes it a bit more interesting in performance. And again, yeah, you're obfuscating that 13 principle by dealing 2 separate piles, because each of his cards don't add up to 13.
Yeah.
Only when they're together do they.
That's great. And again, you don't have to use the moniker. You just need to know those 3 cards in those 3 positions. So you could be using a regular deck. Yes. That's brilliant.
Yes. And with that being said, should we go on to the other version?
Well, yes. Let's go on to the other version. But I've also got another version to show you of ACAAN. What if I told you that you could do a version of any card at any number using a memorized deck, but there's no memorization, they never have to memorize anything, and there's no force of card, and there's no force of number, and it will work every single time?
I would have my mind blown.
Should we do that quickly?
Let's do it.
So Lloyd has not seen this trick at all. He has no idea what to expect, and I'm not going to say anything to him until afterwards, but I think you're going to like this. I think you're going to see a little smile form on his face as he sees this. I know you well enough. So 2 decks of cards, Lloyd. This blue deck I am not at any point going to touch. The only person that's going to touch that deck is you. I will tell you there's a prediction in that deck.
All right.
This deck, however, is going to be used to have you randomly pick a card and a position in the deck. A lot of the time, you have someone pick a number in the deck or a position from 1 to 52. They gravitate towards numbers like 7 or 37. They're psychologically more popular. Likewise, with playing cards, a lot of people will go for an Ace of Spades or a Queen of Hearts. I want it to be a completely random choice. So everybody that's watching at home knows, without a shadow of a doubt, you have a completely free choice of card and number. So I took a deck of cards. I took this red deck. I didn't do anything to the back, but to the front, my friend, I put numbers on every single card. So every single one of these cards has numbers on them. Can you see? And all I did is I took this pack, I gave it a really good shuffle, and then I just wrote 1 to 52, and then I shuffled them again. So different cards, different numbers, randomly all the way through.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like you, if you could please, to give these cards a shuffle.
Whenever I want to?
Yeah. And when you're happy, stop.
Okay.
Cut the cards. All right. Perfect. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
So it's really important that you realise that at every point you're making the choices here.
Yeah.
So the first choice is picking a position in the deck. So do you want to cut the cards any way you want to and complete the cards, or are you happy where you are, or?
I'm going to cut and complete.
Go on, go for it. You happy there?
Yeah.
Do you want the top 2 cards or the bottom 2 cards?
Top.
Okay. Put the top 2 cards on the table. Now think about this. If you'd have cut somewhere else, you would have ended up, if you had the bottom 2 cards, would have been completely different. Different choices, different cards, different numbers, so on and so forth. Next choice. Both of these cards have a number on the other side. You're going to pick which card is going to represent the number and which card is going to represent the actual playing card. This is your final choice.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
This one for the number.
So that's going to be the number. So this card here, ooh, number 1. Interesting. So that is number 1. So this is going to be the actual card, which is 14. Now, if you'd gone the other way around, it would have been 4 of clubs, sorry. If you'd gone the other way around, it would have been 17 and 9 of hearts. But you didn't make that choice. You said 4 of clubs at number 1. If you'd have shuffled the cards one more time or cut the cards one more time, there would have been different numbers and different cards. This was completely random, would you agree?
Yeah.
But you ended up with position number 1 and the 4 of clubs, and I said I was never going to touch that deck, and I'm not. Take the cards out, face down. And 4 of clubs would be the top card of the deck. Boom.
So clean.
Isn't that ridiculous?
So ridiculously clean.
And again, it's another application of this deck taking it a completely different direction.
It's so good. It's so good. And I love the fact that, like, so I can see what's going on. If I had gone this card for the number, so 17,
yep,
and this for the card, 9 of hearts, then
the 17.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so good, man.
Thank you so much.
So, self-working.
Completely self-working. So here's the thing.
Completely self-working.
Completely self-working.
The fact that they can
shuffle. It feels impossible, right? So do you remember Andrew Niner's boombox?
Yeah.
I had a concept like this on there, but I had to have basically the boombox switch the cards.
I actually loved boombox so much.
Yeah, it's great. But I had a thing called the boombox ACAAN, and I had a deck that had cards and numbers on them. I had 2 cards in the boombox, and I switched for those cards.
Yes, yeah.
And so when those 2 cards were down on the table, they could make the final choice. This is better because this allows you to have them shuffle the cards.
Total freedom.
It's total freedom, right?
Yeah.
Now, the cool thing is I'm using mnemonica because I'm a mnemonica user like you. And this is a great lead into a mnemonica trick because you're left with a mnemonica deck to go into whatever you want to. But you don't have to know a mem deck at all. All you have to do is find the order of a deck that you want to use. Like you can go search mnemonica order on Google and get the order. Set that deck up in that order, set this up. You never have to know mnemonica. It's going to work every single time. There's no memorization to this. Now, this is going to allow this. You are going to need to gaff your Savant deck up in order to do this. Mm-hmm. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Now, you could, if you wanted to, carry on using this deck for other stuff and just ignore the numbers. And you could say at the beginning, there's numbers on the face of these cards. You'll see why at the end. And use this deck for other stuff. I like using this as a standalone piece. For me, in Parlour, this is absolutely incredible. To set this up, all you're going to do is take each pair and you're going to take your mnemonica order, and what you're going to do is you're going to, whatever that card is, you write the value, you write the position there. So you're looking at the 10 of hearts and you're looking at 3 of clubs. 3 of clubs is in the 4th position in mnemonica, so I've wrote 4 on the 10 of hearts. 10 of hearts is in the 38th position in mnemonica, so on that card I've wrote 38. This is one more example. 10 of clubs and 3 of hearts, exactly the same. You just write the opposite number on each card. That's all you need to do. Now, once you've done that, the cool thing about this is you can literally put this deck down. You can give it them at the very beginning. You can say, look, hold on to that. That's a prediction. I never want to touch it. When you want to go into this routine, they can shuffle the cards as much as they want to. They can cut the cards as many times as they want. They can take the top 2 cards or the bottom 2 cards. They have had a free choice of whatever 2 cards they want to, apparently. But because of the Savant deck principle, the pairs are always going to stay together.
Beautiful.
So you're always going to have this final choice. So you can say, which one would you like to have the number? I want this to be the number. Okay, 29 and 8 of diamonds. And you know as well as me, when they deal down to the 29th position, that's going to be the 8 of diamonds. And the reset is just that, and you'll reset to do it again.
And also, just presentationally, you could have 2 people performing this too, and they each get 1 card.
Yes.
And you say you can decide who wants to be the position, who wants to be the card. And you can decide between yourselves and go from there. Just as a tiny tweak in how to present it.
Yep.
But again, yeah, man, what a clever idea. What a really, there's so many clever methods working together in this one effect. Like, I pity the lay person that has to experience this. Imagine this, like, one person like, oh, what, the next magician I ever see, I'm going to figure out his trick and embarrass him. And you do this.
Good luck.
And they're like, I quite like magicians now.
and
I hate them.
You know what's really cool as well? You never even have to touch the cards. You can do this entire trick without ever touching anything. The one person can have this, the other person can take the cards out, spread them themselves, shuffle them, deal the 2 cards out. You don't even have to do anything or touch anything, and this is going to work.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Well done, man.
Thanks.
Really, 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 really clever idea.
Thanks, man. But we've got one more ACAAN for you. It wouldn't be a Lloyd Barnes Craig Petty project with at least 3 ACAANs. So
Pumped full of ACAANs.
we have one more. So let's have a look at this one.
Okay, before we do anything, Craig, I need you to make a selection.
Okay.
To do this, just cut the deck anywhere that you want. Anywhere. And we'll just mark it like this.
Okay.
All right? Now, I want to show you one interesting thing. This box is not the box for this deck.
Okay.
Inside this box, there's a prediction.
Okay.
I want you to take close notice that I will never touch that box.
Okay.
This is entirely for you.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, lift these cards up and look at the card that you cut to. Memorize it. I don't need to know what it is.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Okay, place them back. And then cut and complete the deck. And don't forget that card. To help you remember it, I always do this little trick. Just say it to yourself 3 times.
Yep.
Cool? Actually, I want you to really shuffle these cards up. So give them a good mix as many times as you want until you're satisfied that they are actually in a bit of a mess. And you can cut and complete as many times as you want. And whenever you're happy, I want you to go ahead and deal us 2 cards each. Cool?
Yep.
Entirely hands-on.
Ridiculously fair.
You cut 2 and thought of a card, then you shuffle the deck, and you dealt us 2 cards each. Can you go ahead and take this deck out of the box for me, please, before we go any further? And what we're going to do is, for whatever the value of each of these cards is, you're going to deal down, face down onto the table. So hold the deck in your hand,
Okay.
and you're going to deal down a joker. So don't deal down any.
Okay.
Deal down 4 cards face down.
1, 2, 3, 4.
13 for a king. Deal 13 cards face
1,
down.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
And this is really strange. You're going to see something happen in a moment, and you're not going to believe your eyes.
Okay.
That's a 9.
Yes. Deal 9 cards.
Deal 9 cards, but watch the 9th card.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
There's 1 blue back card in this red deck.
Wow.
Remember, you could have shuffled, if you had dealt any other cards in any other order that you'd shuffled the deck into, this would not add up to this total.
Not at all.
It'd be something completely different. Instead of a joker, if you'd dealt the next card, which was a 7, we would be somewhere else entirely different. There's 1 blue card in this deck. What was the card you were thinking of?
Jack of Spades.
Go ahead and turn that card over. Show everybody at home.
Jack of Spades. Dude, that's incredible.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But you know what's even stranger?
What?
That you couldn't have thought of any other card in the deck, because this wouldn't have worked. And it wouldn't have worked if you'd shuffled these into any other order.
Really?
100%. And do you want to know how I can prove it?
Yes.
Look at the cards in your hand. Every card in this deck is completely blank. There are no cards in this deck.
That's incredible. That's so good. That's amazing, man. And they're all examinable.
All examinable.
That's so good. That's so good.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That's insane.
So thanks to Craig for bringing a blank deck with a blue jack of spades in 26th position for me today. This is, this is self-working. If you notice, presentationally, all I did was turn the cards over. But aside from that, I did nothing but prepare everything. Or Craig prepared half.
And it's so insane that you can do magic as strong as this, and you never even have to touch the deck.
Never even have to touch the deck. All I did was find the jack of spades in my Savant deck, and I cut that jack to the top. And then this card was in the 26th position in the prediction deck. So all you need to do. So all I do now is have Craig cross-cut force himself, and a cross-cut force is when you cut half the deck, This is the force card on top, but we're going to use time misdirection in a moment, even though you don't actually need time misdirection. So it says science. Craig's going to place the remainder of this portion off to the side at an angle to mark the cut. I now bring attention to the prediction deck. I say, look, this is not actually the box for this deck. This contains a prediction. And it's nice to use the same color deck because it reinforces that these are all playing cards. The same cards that they're seeing over and over again. So it's hammering the fact home for when it comes to that kicker, and the blank deck then hits a lot harder. So I just bring attention over here for a moment, and then I come back to here and say, look at the card that you cut to. So this is just a bit of time misdirection to make them realize that it's not, forget that it's the top card. They put that back in, complete the deck however they want. Now I say shuffle, deal us 2 cards each. And again, as we know, the total is always going to come to 26.
And I love what you do here, where you have them deal it into 2 piles, and you don't just say, let's add them up and deal to 26. You're having them deal. I really like that.
Thanks, man. I just think it's nice. It just breaks it up a little bit and obfuscates the method, and they can't really backtrack it. Anyway, so now I say take the deck, face down, deal cards. So 1.
Oh, sorry, face down, yeah.
6.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah.
Let's do 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And then this card, I say, this is the last card. You're going to see something amazing happen now. And everyone's kind of like, what? So I'm just building a bit of attention to it. I didn't want them to count down to that card and go, oh, and then be confused as to like, oh, is this a mistake? Has he got something wrong? By saying you're going to see something happen, you build up a bit of anticipation, it becomes exciting. Everyone's like, oh, I'm going to see some magic. And then they don't see magic happen, they see something interesting happen. But you're going to pay off that sort of implied promise of something amazing happening when they see the blank deck at the end. So it gives you that final like scratch of the itch, that finisher to the Jack in the Box dun, 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 dun sound. So I say you're going to see something amazing happen in a moment. Deal down 7 cards. So now they're all waiting. What am I going to see? What am I going to see?
5, 6, and that's such a strong
see
moment.
Something. Okay, he was right. And now things are starting to fall into place or out of place. What was the card you were thinking of?
Jack of Spades.
Unbelievable. Turn it over. Jack of Spades. Trick's done. Trick's done. But they like, in a sense, they didn't see magic. Like in the way they're thinking, that's just an amazing prediction, right? Realistically, though, this isn't magic. This is sheer, blind, impossible luck. Close to impossible luck. The magic part comes, and even though there's a way to do it, I mean, we're getting theoretical now. The magic part comes at the end, and this is the payoff when they see everything is blank. And they've reinforced to themselves that this was a normal deck because it looks identical. And they'll even convince themselves that they've seen these cards. So the magic part comes at the end, and we say, go ahead, this is going to be done, boom. And their memories will just cross over, and they'll intertwine, and they will believe that they held a regular deck from the beginning of the process when they reveal all this.
This is like the best version of Brainwave I've ever seen. Like, that is so strong and examinable at that point.
Yeah.
And anyone who's ever worked with blank decks with real people, they've never seen anything like this. They immediately want to go, oh my gosh, what's that?
I mean, there's not much you can really do afterwards, because anything you do after this, or within, you can, but they are going to be sort of anchored onto this in their head. They're going to be kind of thinking back, oh God, that one trick though, that trick where all the cards were, like that trick with all the, when you perform, there's always that trick where people go, oh, well, that was good. But that one that you did, where it did this, whenever you incorporate something like a blank deck, it kind of puts a huge anchor into your performance, in a good way and sometimes a bad way, but very, very hard to follow up this, and very, very impossible. And look how much mileage you get out of it without having to touch the cards. The only thing you do is put the cards in the right places before you begin. It's
killer. It's absolutely killer. I love it.
So thanks for providing the blank deck, Craig. I appreciate it. And that's my reset, by the way.
It's just insane, isn't it? And then you just put that into the 26th position, which you can openly do in front of them very, very easily.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But we're not even anywhere near close to the end of this. We're just getting started, really. In fact, I'm going to show you something right now. It's one of my favorites. You've not seen this.
Nope.
And this is actually our friend Thomas Maloney's trick with this one deck. Yeah, very exciting. So we'll have a look at that one next.